Net present value is the present value of all the incremental benefits minus the present value of the incremental cost of the project. Okay, so we can use the NPV function in Excel in order to calculate that. Now this function can be used when you do all the investments or cash flow are at the same period interval. Okay, all the cash in the have to happen in the same interval for the calculation to be correct. Now what if the interval is different? That we'll see later on, but as of now, NPV, you need to understand that NPV can be used when the cash flows occur at the same interval. Okay, now what is the acceptance rule for NPV? In case of individual projects, we will accept the NPV if it is greater than 0. Simple. If the NPV is greater than 0, then we accept the project. And in case of mutually exclusive projects, we choose the one which has the higher NPV as long as the NPV is greater than 0. So we need to keep in mind that if the NPV is greater than 0, we will take that project. And in case there are more than one project, then how do we compare? In that case, obviously the first rule exists that the NPV has to be greater than 0. Secondly, the one with the higher NPV will be chosen. Okay, so this is basically the NPV function in and how it can be used in project selection. Now let's see what is the NPV function in Excel. If you put is equal to NPV, the notation says it returns the net present value of an investment based on a discount rate and a series of future payments, which means it will be a negative value, and income if it is positive values. Now just to show you, if you open the bracket, the various arguments or the various inputs that this function in Excel will require is rate, which is basically the discount rate, and the values or the cash inflows and outflows of the project or the investment. Correct? So this was the NPV function in Excel. Let's do the NPV calculations. Is equal to NPV. It asks for the rate. Okay, so the rate is going to be this rate, comma. It asks for the values. We'll select the values. Now what we're going to do is we'll freeze or we'll reference the necessary cells. We do not want the cash flows to move, right? So we'll freeze these cells by using the F4 key. And we close the bracket, enter. Fine, so we have got the NPV at 0%. What we're going to do is simply drag this across since we have done the necessary referencing. If you have to check, press F2 and you will find E15, which is the cost of capital, comma, the cash flows have remained intact since we used the referencing. We know the acceptance rule very clearly. We accept, when we are talking about NPV, we'll accept the project if the NPV is greater than 0. So what do you think here? The NPV is $400. Should we accept the project? Absolutely. It is a positive number. We are going to accept the project. In this case, yes. In this case, yes. In this case, yes. What about this? When the NPV is 0, do we accept the project? No. So basically, till here we are going to have a yes. We are going to accept the project. From here onwards, it's going to be a no. Then if you see, the NPV has gone negative and hence we are not going to accept the project.